Hey y'all, welcome to or welcome back to our very bookish channel. My name is Amanda and welcome to our March Secret TBR pick vlog. So for March, the theme of our secret TBR pick vlog is going to be Luck of the Library. And I'm very excited because I'm actually traveling and I'm visiting a library I have never been to before. I'm outside of the Johnson City Public Library in Tennessee, and it looks so nice, and I can't wait to come in here and pick a book. Oh my gosh, you guys, look, they have the Library of the Unwritten here. I think this is a sign because I've really been wanting to read this book, and Jen got it for me for Christmas, so I do have a copy at home.
Hello and welcome to our March secret read, which is Library Luck. I am going to be going to the library, obviously, to take a look at what book is going to strike me, and is it going to be lucky that it is a great book. Let's hope so. Last time I had to choose a book basically by its cover, though we are allowed to read what it's about for this vlog. The one where I just chose by the cover ended up being really good. It was Theme Music by T. Marie Vandelli. Loved it, 5-star book for me. And we'll see if luck strikes twice for this vlog. This is the first time I'm out and driving. It feels good to be out since my surgery, which was 2 weeks ago. And I am going to be headed into the library very shortly. I'm leaving the doctor's office. I had a general appointment today. That was the reason for me to journey outside, but now I'm headed to the library, so come along. All right, you saw everything that I was looking at in the library, and you saw they're having like an art exhibit, which I thought was cool, so I included some footage of that. But I have 3 contenders for the secret pick. And the first one is We Lie Here by Rachel Housel Hall. Never heard of this book before, and it sounds like it's someone who ends up going back home, and she's putting together an anniversary party for her parents, and she ends up having someone tell her that she really needs to talk to them because of some secret or something that she needs to know. Someone ends up turning up dead, I'm assuming murdered, and that person leaves her a key to a cabin, and she has to go figure out what was so important. So that one sounded really interesting to me. I've been wanting to read, and it made me laugh because it's green and it's March and, you know, obviously St. Patty's Day. I've been wanting to read First Line Wins. I feel like people always think I've read this and it's been on my TBR, but I have not read this yet. So that's also a contender. And then this one made me laugh whenever I panned over. As far as I know, I meant to check. I don't remember having read the author Catherine Center, but it's literally called Get Lucky with a Little Shamrock. It made me laugh when I saw the title, and then I saw this, and it sounds kind of like, I don't think it's a romance. I think it's just fiction, but it sounded kind of like a Sophie Cousins. It's a woman who she accidentally, sounds like she does things like haphazardly, and she accidentally sends an email to her whole company, and I think she loses her job, so she has to go back home, and she ends up having to confront things from her past. I feel like it's a very common trope where you go back home after you're older and confront, you know, your first crush or your first boyfriend and things that have happened with your siblings or parents or friends. And so it sounded kind of cute. I feel like this would be perfect for the vlog, but I'm going to make my decision. I will be back once I make my decision, and I'm going to put one of these in the secret pouch, and I will reveal it in the next video. So stay tuned.
Alright y'all, so you guys saw that I chose Library of the Unwritten for my Luck of the Library pick, and I chose that for several reasons. The first one is that I have really been wanting to read that book. I did select it for one of the 5 books when I did try a chapter in one of our secret reading vlogs. I didn't pick it to read in that vlog, obviously, but it was a high contender. I really wanted to read it. The beginning first chapter was so good and fun. So that's number one. Number 2 is I know that I own the book, and since I was visiting a library, I'm not a member there, I couldn't check that book out. And I also checked Libby to see if I could get it on Libby while I was traveling, and unfortunately I could not find the ebook. There is a wait for the ebook, so I couldn't get the ebook to read on my Kobo, but I was able to get the audiobook. So I did read it in the library. I reread the first chapter because I already had read the first chapter for the vlog, but I wanted to reread it to get back into the book. And then I have been listening to the audiobook while I was traveling back home. So I am about 30% into the book right now, and it's just now getting really fun. So the beginning I felt was really fun, interesting, and then I felt like it kind of dragged and I was like a little bit bored with the book. But we're at a part that's getting interesting. Basically, we have a librarian, and she is the librarian to a library in hell, and she has a muse, and their job is to basically keep all of these unwritten books under wraps. But sometimes the characters in these unwritten books can pop out of the books and go crazy, so the librarian has to get them back under control, get them back into the book. But one character actually gets out of the book and finds his way out of the library, and so she has to go track him down. They follow him to Seattle, track him down. While they are are tracking this character down, they come across an angel who is looking for a book and assumes the librarian knows all about this book. And so this kind of puts them on another adventure to track down this really important book that angels are looking for. So to track down this book, they decide that they have to visit all these other immortal realms, let's just say, to try to find these books, because it's not in hell and it's not in heaven, because, you know, she's hell's library and she doesn't have it, and the angels are looking for it, so it's not in heaven, so they have to go to all these other realms, and the first place that they're going is Valhalla. So I think that that's super fun. They are in Valhalla, the point that I'm at, and they are talking to the guy that's supposed to be able to lead them to this book or give them some information about who could have this book or where this book could be. So getting interesting, I'm getting a little more into it, and I am going to listen some more while I'm out for the day, but when I get home, I'm probably going to get my physical book out and start reading it, because the audiobook's okay, but I'm not really a big audiobook person, and sometimes I get distracted. It takes me out of the story, so I kind of need to read the physical book as well as listen to the audiobook if I'm going to do an audiobook. So that's all for now. I am on my way to Sam's Club. They do have books there, so I'm going to look and see what kind of books they have. Maybe I'll show you guys if they have anything interesting and just browse some of the books, but just thought I would stop by and browse the books while I'm running some errands and getting some groceries at Sam's Club. Oh my gosh, you guys, I have heard so many people talking about this book and reading it that I have a little bit of FOMO. But I have so many other books to read, but I don't know, like, do you guys think I should prioritize this book and read it, or is it really not worth all the hype? Let me know. Look at this Frida selection. Frida McFadden. Look at this. So many books now you can buy in the stores of hers. I've read all these, so I'm not going to be buying any of these, but wow. I'm so excited to see all of her books in stores. You guys, these books look so cute. I know Jen bought the Pumpkin Spice Cafe. I don't know if she read it, but look how cute these books are. I would read them, but they're not really my genre. Look. Another Frida book. This is her newest one. It was pretty good. And Onyx Storm. No more sprayed edges, though. If you are looking for a sprayed edge version of Onyx Storm, we are doing a giveaway once we hit 1,500 subscribers. So make sure you're subscribed, because we are going to be actually giving away the Target exclusive edition of Onyx Storm.
Okay, I have chosen, I don't know what you guys would choose, of the 3 books that I had found during my library luck run at the library, and I had a hard time choosing. So that means I'm going to read 2, because I feel this one's going to go really fast. So I chose Get Lucky. I thought it's too appropriate and it fits like a puzzle piece into what we were doing with library luck. I mean, it's literally called Get Lucky and has a clover on the cover. So how can I not choose this one? But I really, really, really want to read this one. So I am going to do both. What I might do is read one of these and then the other I'll do audio and just kind of do it at the same time, because they're 2 different genres. I think it should be easy to do that way. And I'll be going back to work, so I will have more audio time as well, and audio the way I can listen to it well. So I'm choosing 2. I will eventually get to the other one, and maybe I'll even read it right after I finish this vlog. I don't know, because I do still really want to read this one. It's been on my TBR list forever. I never bought a copy, and I'm sure it's going to be in paperback soon, if not already out in paperback. I could put on the screen either the date or if it's already out in paperback. All right, I'm gonna get to reading and listening these 2 and let you guys know some thoughts. Update, I know I said I was going to read 2 at the same time, or, you know, listen to audio and read the other, but I am reading other books at this minute for other kind of vlogs, one of which is one called An Evil Premise. It's an electronic arc that I have from an author that I absolutely loved, her first book called Theme Music. And I'm forgetting her name. It's T. Marie Vandelli, I think. I could be getting it wrong at this minute, but I am reading one called An Evil Premise, and it is very, very dark. It is very scary, and in a good way, not in a, oh, I'm going to put this down, but it just is written, I feel, so well, giving so much, laying the foundation so well for kind of freaking you out that I have to read something lighter to balance that. So I decided to just pick up Get Lucky because this is obviously a romantic type lighter fiction, and I was breezing through 100 pages, and I feel like I'm starting to find the right balance between the dark books that I read and then finding something lighter to balance that out so that I'm not completely surrounding myself and infusing myself with murder and horror. I feel like this is helping me not completely focus on the darker aspects that I have been reading. So far for this one, I do feel it's on the cuter side. This woman named Sarah, she gets fired from her job. She goes back to Texas. She was living in New York. She goes back to Texas to visit her sister. Her sister is unable to get pregnant, and she comes up with this idea that she should carry her sister's baby and be the surrogate. And so now it's kind of like a comedic, these are the things that are going wrong because her sister is married. She moves into their house, and there's just things that are happening that are on the comedic side in terms of antics that she's doing because she ends up getting pregnant with twins. And there's just some antics with her sister's husband that there's going to be a lot of things I think that end up happening. And I don't even think all of it's going to end up comedic. I think there's going to be ending up a lot of tension maybe, and then her finding her way through everything that she's gotten into with her life. They have introduced the possibility, you see her high school boyfriend that she treated really badly, and she admits she treated really badly. But I'm surprised at how far I'm in and not much has happened with him. So I'm not sure how far down the road she's gonna go in terms of like rekindling that relationship. And I think he has a girlfriend, if I remember correctly. She runs into him on the plane, of course, but it's a very brief interaction. And then he happens to work at her brother-in-law's place of business, which I don't remember if they say what he does, and like an office environment. And that's about it. Like she goes to a party, she has another small like interaction with him, but it's not that much. So I'm not sure what else is really going to happen with the romantic relationship. And I don't think this is considered romance anyway. I want to say it was technically considered fiction, just like women's fiction, lighter fiction. So we'll see how much they go down the romance rabbit hole, but I am really enjoying it. I have a feeling it's going to go very fast because it's not that long of a book, and I'm already, I wouldn't say halfway, but I should get at least halfway shortly. So I'm going to keep reading. I'll let you guys know if there's anything else that I want to share about Get Lucky.
Hey y'all, I have an update for you. I am 85% of the way into my library lookbook. And I don't know how I feel about it. It's really tough for me. I'm trying to separate all my emotions when it comes to this book. I'm really liking the book setup. I really like the premise. I really like the plot. I really like some of the characters. Some of the characters I feel like are kind of boring to me, but some of the characters I'm really enjoying. Like one of the characters I really like is Hero. He is really developing throughout the story and changing for the better, and I love to see that in books where the characters sort of change and grow and develop throughout the book. So really enjoying that character. But there's just parts where I just feel like I've been kind of bored, and I don't really know why, because it's a very action-packed, plot-forward book, but I guess I just feel like I'm not really care a lot about some of the things going on, and I don't know why, and that's what I'm trying to separate out, because I don't know if it's because I am looking forward to books that I'm going to read next, and I kind of feel like I just want to hurry up and get this book done, or if it's because I just finished a 5-star read that I absolutely loved. I absolutely loved that book. The male main character in that book was not a Zayden, but definitely my second favorite book boyfriend that I've ever read. So it's always hard following up a 5-star read with another book that's not necessarily a 5-star read or not giving you that same feeling. It's really tough for the next book to follow that act. So it could be that. It could also just be that I'm just not as into the characters. I'm not a real character heavy reader. I'm more a plot driven reader, but the characters do matter to me, and I do need to like root for them and feel for them and want something to happen with them. Also, there is like zero romance in this book, and I don't know if that's also part of it, because I'm not a romance heavy reader, but I do like the feeling of like a romance forming. Like even in action movies and action books, there's always like a romance that forms in the background or that happens at the end, like, you know, where the guy gets the girl at the end, like that kind of thing. And there's really none of that in this book, and I know this is the first book of a duology, so there could be a romance in the second book, but I do think it's just missing that little romance segment that I think all books need at least a little bit of, just a little bit.
Finished. I flew through this. I mean, it wasn't very long. It flies by really fast. I didn't react to it like I do with Sophie Cousins' books. I feel there were definitely some charming parts of this, but I don't know. There were a couple of things bothering me about it. The main character, Sarah, it was her idea about getting pregnant. And I know there's a lot of hormones involved in pregnancy, and I'm sure that was written into what the character is experiencing. But she then is just not the most pleasant of people, and she's taking it out like on her sister. And I mean, the whole plot was revolving around their relationship and what that scenario did to it. And then it was more subplots with the high school boyfriend that she ends up, and there was more going on with him after I last recorded. Not so much with her father, and it goes over more about finding herself after she has the pregnancy, the surrogate pregnancy for her sister. So I don't know. I mean, I feel like there was some humor in it. I feel Sophie Cousins' books, not that I want to keep comparing them, but Sophie Cousins' books, I feel, are infused with much more humor. So I wasn't as enthralled, but it was enjoyable. I feel like it's an average, enjoyable book. So 3 stars for me. I don't feel like 3 stars is bad. I feel like it's just a solid book. And 4 stars for me is when I overly enjoyed it, that it was well on its way to a 5-star book, but something made me hesitate within the book. And then 5 stars, obviously, is something that is one of my favorite books, that I loved it so very much that I can't stop talking about it. So that's my brief star explanation for how I rate things on Goodreads. Obviously 2 and 1 are headed into, I didn't really enjoy it. The writing wasn't really great in my opinion. And I've barely had 2s and 1s, so it's hard for me. Usually at this point, I feel like I'm getting better at DNFing so that I don't even have to worry about starring books on there, because I don't star when I DNF. I feel like it's not worth my time to even try and do that. Moving on, since this is a twofer, I got lucky enough to find 2 books that in my library luck. So now I'm headed into We Lie Here. And I noticed when I looked this one up, because I was putting it on Goodreads, that This author also wrote one that I recognized that had like the sprayed edges, and I want to say it's fantasy, and it's called The Last One. I can put the picture on the screen, but I didn't realize that was the same author, and this one is thriller. So I'm going to head on into this one. I will let you guys know what I think after I'm in a couple chapters. So I'll see you. Okay, I have read about half. I'm almost at page 200. And I would say first and foremost, I really enjoy her writing. There's something about the way she writes that is speaking to me and has kept me invested, especially to get through half of the book that quickly. I right now don't really have any theories. You're getting a lot of information. I just got to the point where she has the key to a cabin, and she kept getting these text messages saying, I have something very important to tell you. She's in Palmdale, California for her parents' anniversary party. Her parents seem, her mom, I feel like there's something suspicious there. I don't know how her mom's involved in everything that ends up happening. She seemingly finds out who's texting her, and that person goes missing and ends up murdered. And that's in the description, so I'm not giving away a plot line. And the very beginning chapter, it's like a prologue, but they don't call it a prologue. There's a weird, like, you're given some information, and I don't know what to make of that and how it fits with the story right now. But I'm at the part of the story where she is at the cabin and I think looking for clues as to what was so important, since she didn't get a chance to talk to the person that was trying to get a hold of her. So I feel like this one's going to go fast. I don't know if I'll get another chance to record. I might be back just with final thoughts, but if something else crazy happens and I have time to record, I will do that. So I will see you guys at some point. I have a brief update, and I also have book mail to open. I figured I would do it on camera and see what happens. I am really invested in this. I'm curious. I don't really know what's going on. I thought I had a theory, but I don't know if it was a very like loose theory, and I don't know if it's correct. But the one part I wanted to talk about, I don't know if you guys ever have this happen where you're reading a book and it talks about either an author or book, and it makes you want to read that author or book. So she's talking in here. Her mom gives her a signed copy of a Toni Morrison book called Beloved. I love Toni Morrison. I've read a lot of Toni Morrison. I had a college class that was just on Toni Morrison, and it made me want to read it again because I haven't read it in so long. But I don't know if that ever happens to you guys, if there's a book that gets mentioned when you're reading another book or an author, and it makes you want to reread it or read more by that author. In terms of plot, Yara, who's the main character, keeps trying to investigate to see what happened with Felicia, and someone is, I don't know if I'd say stalking her, trying to scare her, doing things like slashing her tires. And I just got to a point where someone breaks into her parents' house where she's staying, and she still doesn't know who is doing all of this. So I will let you guys know more after I read more, but I think I only have, I want to say like 100, 150 pages left. So I think I'm going to finish this today. But on to book mail. The way the package is, I'm definitely going to have to, it always makes me nervous to use scissors on these because I'm always afraid I'm going to cut the actual book. I might just cut a little bit and then tear it. Oh my God, that's hilarious. So I got a physical copy of Don't Let 'Em In by Lisa Joel, and I have already read this. So this is, I really liked it. Amanda had to DNF it, which is really funny to me, but I gave this 4 stars. So I'm gonna have to see if anyone around me wants to read this. I know Amanda doesn't want to read it. I think Hannah might want to read this, so I think I'm going to see if she wants to read it. Watch our ARC review for this. You'll see all my thoughts on it. I do recommend it even if Amanda doesn't. I really enjoyed this one. So back to reading my book, We Lie Here. So I'll let you guys know more thoughts once I read more.
I have finished The Library of the Unwritten. And the author, I don't know if I've mentioned the author. The author is A.J. Hackworth, in case you didn't notice or couldn't see it on the book. But this is going to be short. Because I still feel the same way about the book that I felt yesterday. I did like the structure of the ending. Okay, I want to talk about the things that I really like first. I did like the structure of the ending. When I read a series, and I read a lot of them, when I read a series, and even if it's a duology, I hate it when the first book just ends in the middle of the story and it reads like the duology is one big book, but for marketing purposes, they decide to just make it two small books. So that's how the stories feel to me when you just end the first book in the middle of a story. This book did not do that. So I appreciate that. This book ended with the major conflict resolved and then kind of spun with a twist into setting up for the next book. And that's the way that I love my series books to continue. I hate it when it just stops in the middle of the book. Like, it just it frustrates me so much. So I really, really enjoyed that. The book, I really liked the ending. I thought this book was very clever. However, I'm just really kind of underwhelmed with the twist at the end. And I don't have the immediate desire to jump straight into the second book. I am going to read the second book. I do have it. Jen did get me the full duology for Christmas. So I am going to continue the second book. Like I've said before, I think this book was very clever. I think the writing is decent. I think the character development is lacking a little bit, but the story is there. It is a very smart story. It's very intriguing. It's very interesting. It's very different from other things that I've read. So I really like that, and I want to read the second book. I don't know if this is the first book by this author or not, but generally authors will sort of evolve and get better over time. And so maybe the next book in this duology will sort of improve on some of the things that I thought were just okay in this book. So that is what I'm hoping. And I do think that part of me being underwhelmed by the twist at the end could be because I felt like it was a little bit confusing. I wasn't exactly sure what was going on. Of course, I have like the overall theme of what happened, and I can't talk about it, of course, because I don't want to spoil anything, but the details don't make sense to me. So I think before I read this next book in the duology, I'm going to reread the last final chapters of this book and then move into the second book. And I think that will help propel me forward when I'm in the mood to pick up this duology again. So those are all of my thoughts right now on this book. I think I am going to settle at 3 stars. Because I thought the book was okay. It was good enough that I want to continue, but it did have a few issues with me, obviously. So I think I'm going to settle at 3 stars. It's not as good as the 4-star books that I have rated 4 stars. So we're going to settle at 3. I've said that so many times. Anyways, I hope you all have enjoyed the video, and let us know if you have any ideas for secret picks. We're always trying to come up with fun ideas. I would really like some help with that, and I would really be really curious if you guys have any ideas. And I think it would be fun to let you all kind of participate in some of our vlogs. So please let us know if you have any themes for our secret vlogs. I would really like to see them in the description below.
All right, guys, I'm back. I finished We Lie Here by Rachel Housel Hall. So I am done and here with final thoughts. So I feel like I was starting to really love this one, but then I feel it just kind of didn't go anywhere. And I know I briefly said I kind of had a soft theory. I can't remember what I called it. and it wasn't really something that I gave too much thought to, is what I was trying to, I guess, imply with soft theory. And I ended up being right. But again, it was a person that I was guessing, not all of the plot points of what made that come true. So it was interesting the way it ended up coming true. But I don't know. There was something about this. I don't know if I just didn't like how the ending happened, that I didn't feel it was like a 4 or 5 star, which is where I was headed. So it just ended up being a 3 star because it kept my interest and I liked it. It's a solid book, but I don't feel like the ending was strong enough to propel it into a 4 or 5. It started to go up and then it just kind of plateaued for me. So that's where I was for this. But I like her writing enough that I am interested in reading more from her. And especially the last one, I guess you would call it romantasy that she wrote, because what's interesting about that is it feels different. I think she writes a thriller pretty well, and I wonder how she would write a romantasy book. So that one is something I am definitely interested. If you guys have read the last one, I don't think I meant to check Goodreads or ask her, but I haven't had time. I'm back at work now, so I don't have as much time. I'm not sure if she read it, but if you guys read the last one or any of her other books, what do you guys think of her? I'd be very curious to see any other opinions. So of the two, because I got 2 into this vlog, which we weren't exactly planning, I just ended up being able to do it. I think I would still choose this one over this one. This one was a fun... Sorry, my hair is way too long. I have to get it cut, and it's starting to get to the point where I feel like it's everywhere and it's getting hard to tame, and it gets caught, and that's besides the point. So I do feel this one was a fun read, but they were both 3-star reads for me. Neither of these were 4-star reads. I do love how this one fits so well with library luck as the theme, and that it's St. Patty's Day, and, you know, everything fit well. But I would still think I was much more invested in this one, even if it didn't end up going to a higher level like I wanted it to. I still felt much more invested in this one. This one was just like cutesy, and I feel like Sophie Cousins does it better. I hate comparing, but I feel like she set the bar for me for this type of book, and I prefer her books over this one. And I felt this one, though, wasn't bad or anything. Definitely a cutesier, fun read, but there was definitely drama involved with the sisters, and I don't know, it just didn't live up to a level that I wanted it to, which was kind of true for both, I guess. But so I don't know, would I call myself lucky for this one? I don't know. I did enjoy this one better, but I don't know if I would say I was actually lucky with this vlog. I did enjoy them, but nothing went to a 4 or 5 star. So that was our library luck vlog. I believe Amanda is picking one this week. I got a little ahead because before we set a calendar, I just started reading and I had time off, and I just felt like I need to work ahead a little bit because I knew once I get back to work, I'm not going to have as much time. So I'm very curious to see what she gets for her library luck. We'll see. I always love seeing, especially if I don't know the picks that she has, I love waiting to see once we're done recording and I have to do a once over to make sure if there are any errors or anything we need to change. I'm always interested to see what her picks are. It's one of the reasons why I like doing this channel and these vlogs, because it's always fun to see what your friends are reading, what they think about the books, but also for our vlogs, how we're choosing them, why we chose them, how much we like it, because sometimes there are books I want to read too, and I always love to see what her opinion is on things. Thanks so much for watching our library luck episode. Next month, I'm sure we'll have a very interesting theme. I don't think we chose anything or have any ideas yet. But if you guys have any ideas of what we should do for the secret vlog, is there a theme that you feel that would be really interesting to watch? Put it in the comments. Let us know what you think would be really interesting to watch from us. Thanks so much, guys, and until next time.